This is Higher Maths, straight line. We're looking at the midpoint of a line and we're going to go ahead and find the midpoint of these three lines that we have here. So what I have here is I've got A to B, and that's the first one I'm going to do. Then we've got C to D, and I've got E to F. Okay, and what I want to do is to find the midpoint of each of these lines. Now, when we've got a drawing in front of us, it's quite simple to see where the midpoint's going to be. If I look at this one here, halfway between that line is probably going to be, if I look at the x direction, it's going to be there and there. So I'm looking for a midpoint coming out to be there. Now, when we don't have a drawing and we've just been given the coordinates, and the coordinates are quite far apart, sometimes it's more difficult to see where the midpoint's going to be, so we normally use a formula for it. And it's quite a simple formula, and although it looks a bit complicated, but all we're doing is finding the mean of the x coordinates to find out the direction along in the x direction, and we'll find the mean of the y coordinates, and we'll find out that part there. That's all we're really doing with this equation here. Right, so I'm going to label this up as x1, y1 and x2 and y2. And from there, I'm just going to apply this equation here, or this formula, just to work out the midpoint. So the midpoint of the line AB, just put it into coordinate form here. And what we're going to do is we're going to add together both the x coordinates and divide it by 2. So it'll be 1 plus 5. 1 plus 5 divided by 2. For the y coordinates, it will be y1 plus y2, so 2 plus 8 divided by 2. 2 plus 8 divided by 2, and from there I can tell what the midpoint of AB is going to be. Right, so 1 plus 5 is going to be 6. 6 divided by 2 will give me 3, and 2 plus 8 is 10 divided by 2 gives me 5. So there's the coordinates of the midpoint of the line AB, and as we can see in the diagram, 3, 5 is going to be my midpoint. Okay. What I'd like you to do is to try this C and D, and then do E and F, just the same way as I've done there, just simply using this formula to work out the midpoint. Quite straightforward. What I'll do is, if you can freeze the video just now, I'll give you the answers to the questions in a couple of seconds. Okay, so what we have here, the midpoint of CD is going to be coordinates minus 11 and minus 1. Okay. The coordinates of the midpoint of EF are going to be 1 and minus 6. And that's the simple way that we're going to do it. Just straightforward, just substituting into that formula. Okay, so sometimes we have to work backwards a bit. And what we need to do is we need to sometimes work out some missing coordinates, similar to what we did with the distance formula previously. Right, so when we're trying to find out missing coordinates, the way that I would go about that is that I would use the the midpoint formula here, and what I would do is I'd put the information that I already know kind of into the midpoint formula. First of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and work out the x coordinate of the point B here, after I know that the midpoint of a line AB has the coordinates 1, 3, so that is the midpoint. The coordinates of A we've got are 5, 10. I don't know the coordinates of B, and that's what I'm really trying to work out here. What I'm going to go for first of all is I'm going to use this part here, and I'm going to equate that equal to 1, because that's the x coordinate of the midpoint. So what I can say here is that 5, so that's going to be the x coordinate of A, okay, which is 5, and the x coordinate of B, which I don't know, so the x coordinate of B divided by 2 should equal the midpoint x coordinate. From there, what I'll do is I'll get rid of this 2 on the bottom by multiplying over at the other side. So I've got 5 plus the x coordinate of B is equal to 2. So the x coordinate of B is going to be equal to, bring the 5 over, and that's going to be minus 5. So 2 minus 5 will give me minus 3 as the x coordinate. Okay. When I work out the y coordinate, what I'll go for is the same type of method that I'm going to use. I'm going to go for 10 plus the y coordinate of b, all divided by 2, should equal to the y coordinate of the midpoint, which is 3. 2 times 3 is going to give me 6, so 10 plus the y coordinate of b is equal to 6. So the y coordinate of b is going to be equal to, when I bring that 10 over, minus 10. 6 minus 10 is going to give me minus 4. So I can state the coordinates of b are going to be minus 3, minus 4. And what I can do is I can check that with some of the working, just plugging these numbers back into the midpoint formula to make sure I get the midpoint of the line. Okay, so if you can try question 2 and 3, I'll give you the answers to that in just a second. So just freeze the video and do that work there. There are some further questions in the Maths in Action textbook. So page 3, exercise 1, and question 7 is some basic work for midpoint, and 8 and 9 some work including the distance formula. So try them. I'll give you the answers for question 2 and 3. So question 2 is going to work out to be D is going to be coordinates 2 minus 10. And what we've got for question 3, we've got the coordinates are going to be, the n will be minus 15 and the m is going to be 7. Okay, so that's the midpoint of a line.